Good evening. We are live. Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Hope everybody's doing well. If you guys are new, my name's Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I am a defense attorney over in the Cleveland area, and we're going to talk about a lot of stuff tonight, not just criminal-related things, some funny stuff, some serious stuff, Google getting in trouble, all kinds of stuff tonight. So if you're new, thank you for being here. I know we had the stream with Danny on last night. I know it was a very fun time. There were some names I haven't seen before, so if you're new, thank you for being here. Want to say hello to everybody on Rumble, Kick, Twitch, still on Twitch, Twitter, the Book of Faces, and then everybody here on YouTube. Last but not least, I want to say hello to everybody over on Locals. If you guys are not aware what Locals is basically like Patreon without all the crappy rules. And this is over at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. There we do all kinds of fun stuff. You can post things, post articles, post memes. I'll post articles, post memes. We can respond to each other. I post videos every once in a while, videos that I don't think are necessarily proper for on YouTube, a little more funny or a little more off topic of what I normally do here. I put them over there, solely exclusive to there. And then in addition to that, we do live shows. We do a live show every Monday night at about 8:30 or so. And sometimes it goes only for an hour and a half. Sometimes it goes 3 hours plus. It really depends. We like to have fun, hang out. You can let your hair down there. And then every Thursday night, so like tonight, after this show, whenever it ends, we then go on there and get to hang out for a little while. And just like otherwise, we get to hang out, have a good time. There's also a live chat that I forgot to set up, which I have to do right now as we're talking. And that is for everybody there to join and take part in. If you guys would like to join, it is $3 a month. That is the least amount Locals lets me charge. If you pay for 10 months, you get 2 months free. If you're still not sure about that, you can use the promo code potentially. You can use a promo code. You use a promo code criminal and you get 1 month free, full access. You get access to all the streams, everything. With that said, if you're still not sure though, you can always join as a member. Becoming a member is free. There is no cost, but to become a supporter, obviously there is an incurred cost, but you do get some benefit out of it. So if you guys are interested, that is at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. So in addition to things, guys, if you're new, we also try to wait about 10 minutes, give people the chance to come in. And I know that just because YouTube is not the best at notifying people, just seems like everything nowadays. Susan still fears me even though she left. That's the way I look at it. Kind of have to that way. So I hope everybody's had a good week so far. I cannot believe this week has gone by so fast. It is almost the weekend. I hope you guys are planning on fun stuff this weekend, getting ready for Christmas. I know that's around the corner. And speaking of Christmas, if you guys are looking for gifts for your special someone, whether that's a man or a woman, because they might like this, it might appeal to them. Oh, who just texted me? You can then use a great resource and a great chance to get some nice custom-made things is from our newest sponsor, Simply Strung Together, makers of fine handmade quality jewelry. They sell all kinds of things there on their website. They sell earrings and earrings that look like angels. They do earrings that look like Santa. They do Santa in different colors. They do, as I was saying earlier, they do snowmen. And with the snowmen, you can do whatever you want them. You can mix and match. You can give them a black hat, a pink scarf, and a teal brim. And that way you can give it to somebody if you want to make them wear something that's really obnoxious just to embarrass them. You can do that. Or if you actually want to get something nice to somebody, you can make the colors match, whatever you prefer. In addition to that, you can get nice things like ornaments that are nicely covered up. Some of them do light up, and you can put a light inside of them. They look really cool. Maybe your cat won't attack them if they're lit up. Maybe they'll be scared away. In addition to that, there's all kinds of things like necklaces, scarves, All kinds of things, herringbone necklaces, all kinds of stuff that for the woman in your life she may like. And it's not too bad on the pricing. If you use the promo code potentially criminal, it's 10% off store wide. I mean, just crazy low prices. So crazy that the insane asylum would get involved if they knew. So that's at simplystrungtogether.com, you guys. Remember, promo code potentially criminal. So who's all here tonight? We need to get going on some stuff. Most importantly, we got to look at who was first. Who was first? Well, let's look over in the locals chat. Who got first? 93 Cobra got first. Congratulations. Oh my gosh, you guys are awful over in locals. Those are hilarious memes. I can't show those. That's not fair to Danny. Oh my God. But yes, congratulations to Cobra being first there. Then we also needed, because, for you guys know, if you're new, why is it important to be first? Well, why isn't it? Why don't you want to be first? Winners like to be first. It's very critical that you're first. And over in Rumble, the first place goes to Job Well Done. Says Man D. And then he says latte, which I think is French for late. Not sure, though. I think that's what he's trying to get at. But I will also say over on Rumble, who else is here right now? J-Man saying it's now letting me in. Yes. So that is good. I'm glad it's working, because every once in a while, Rumble doesn't always work, and it gets a little frustrating when that happens. Then finally, for the big show here. Who got first in locals? Locals YouTube. Duh. DW3 with, I don't know, maybe this is a foreign language. This is a foreign language. DW3 says, a pocket text. Nice. Das Boot says the first stolen by a pocket text. Yes, that's true. And yes, I would sneed too if I was trying to get in on this and a pocket text beat me. Because then we weren't even trying and they beat you. Let's go. Brandon says, I thought I had a shot at first today. Yeah, sometimes it happens. It's always next time. We got some super chats to get through first. That's a shame for $4.99. Thank you. Thank you very much, by the way. Thank you for the support. Saying, hi, Sean in chat. Going to have to catch the replay again this week, I'm afraid. Also got to figure out why I'm always so tired on Thursdays. Have fun, kids. I mean, it's Thursday. That's the reason why. Why are you tired? It's because it's Thursday. It's the week's almost over. But thank you for catching the replay. And then our son Inv for $49.99. Thank you very much. Truly, thank you for that support. Saying, hey, Sean, I'm Ash Digger on Locals. Popped in to say hi. I'll be there on replay. Thank you. Thank you for being on replay. I always appreciate it. If you're on the replay crew, that's all, whether you're live or in the replay crew, it's all good. But thank you for that. Thank you for that, and I truly appreciate you guys whenever, whatever acts of generosity it is, whether you super chat or you, when you mail me a mail bomb, you don't actually connect it, but you're just showing like, I could have done it, but I care about you so much. I didn't connect the wiring. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that thought so very much. And the lamp died. I didn't notice that earlier. I need to fix that. So, what are you guys saying? Oh, Winter Soldier saying over on Twitch. He got first on Twitch. Mandy. Yes. Oh, Lord. Holy shit, thief. I will say this much. I was reading all that. I don't understand one lick of that math. Like, when I saw that go up, I just kind of, like, whatever, skip to the next paragraph. I have no idea what the fuck any of that said. It could have been in, that's voodoo to me. And they said it's a number, and it's like, wow. The power of that website at sometimes is scary, and I feel like I'm the dumbest person there after seeing that thread. After seeing that post, I feel like I am the dumbest person on the farms. Said I'm playing Team Fortress 2 right now. Yeah. Oh. Stabby says I'm new here. What's this show about? Not a whole lot. It's about seeing how long until we can get the feds mad at us. Maxwell House says she said she was going to be on with Uncivil Law, not you. Oh, well, I don't know. She was on with me, so she said on Twitter she was going to be on with me, so I don't know. Maybe that's a bit offensive that maybe she thinks me and Kurt look the same. I'm not sure. We're both strapping young men, chiseled good looks. I don't think Kurt has a beard anymore, does he? For a while. Yeah, he's kind of got the stubble going. But I get it. I get that rustic look. I get it. Das Boot says, can I catfish over on locals? I don't know. If you want to, you can, I guess. It's a free world. We run Somalia rules there. Eric K says, your streams rock. Thank you. Thank you very much. This is who we are. Oh, Stabby saying, I'm also going to beat the Knicks sending out a locals gift. Yes. And if you guys also, I forgot to mention this on locals. If you guys do join at locals, for people that were on the stream, I set it up. I had a couple of things that through the lovely Mrs. 2.0 had helped me set up some neat little gifts that had been ordered way in advance, sending them out. So there's about 12 of you that are going to get something really cool coming up. So you guys know who you are, and they're going to be getting mailed out soon. I got to finish boxing everything up. It sucks though, because what they are, there isn't a box that fits them the right way. So I've had to kind of make boxes as I go, which isn't bad, but there's a lot of duct tape. So Carrie saying Catfish Central. Yeah, more catfish than the Ohio River. Let me tell you what. I guess there's a lot of noodling going on, literally and figuratively. And a little bit of double entendre there. Do I know Mandy? No, I don't know Mandy. I'm glad I don't know Mandy. Well. Trouble Done says potentially a lady millennial has an Etsy. It's not an Etsy, but it's a website. So yeah. Stabby saying, how much do you have for the code FOAMer? Nothing. You actually owe me $500 every time you use the code FOAMer. So don't try it. Don't try it. Dick Insider says, price is so crazy you'll get a 5150. Yes. Tech Fryer Alpha says, want to be able to give you Amazon sub monies. Thank you. I appreciate it. And we'll start doing some stuff over there on Amazon, on Twitch. I mean, well, it is Amazon. Same thing. Whatever. So. Friendly comic fan for $2 saying, I wish I could do the voice like Xerxes in 300. If you kiss Masterson's ring, Nick will forgive you. They ask you stand. I only ask that you kneel. I'll pass. I'm not kissing anything on Dick's hands. I'll say that much. So. Parallax says, Farron had a farms account. You're really smarter than her. Yeah, but she's not, I don't really consider that the competition. So I appreciate the thought, though. Okay, the bum says, can we talk chemtrails? We can talk about chemtrails and locals. All right, all right, guys, we are caught up. It's all 15 minutes. It's time to go. Mystery Sniper says Twitch is the foaming room. Yes, that's where all the foaming goes on. Aaron says, am I going to be on Layback News tomorrow? No, I'm not going to have any time. I've got some things I got to take care of, so I will not be able to be there. Tabby says, you're not Mandy, are you? No, I am not. So, am I going to do the artistic nudes on Twitch? I thought about it because apparently it's legal now. All right, time to go. All right, first thing we're going to talk about is Hannah Payne. I don't know if you guys have been following that. I know some of the channels here, and I know like Making Law Simple and a couple other places, we're covering it. Hannah Payne was a case out of the great state of Georgia. And so the long story short is Hannah Payne saw, this guy rear end a semi trailer, fucked up his car real bad. And at some point in time, he started driving away and she went after him, trying to get his license plate number and some other things. At some point he stops, she gets out. And, her whole story is she claims that she tried to go up to the car and say, you can't leave here. The police are coming. Whatever it was, she claims he grabbed her, tried to pull her in the car and started driving off with her. So then at that point, Hannah then pulls out her pistol and shoots him and kills him. The video doesn't really seem to show that. And ultimately, this is something I've said before, and it's just like with the Dumpster Bros. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't help that Hannah, yes, had a jury of 11 black people, one white guy, and she's a white lady, and she killed a black guy. But it's the idea of if you're going to pull out your gun and you're willing to kill someone over something, it better be a really, really good reason. You better have as good a reason as you could possibly have. Well, he drove off from a car crash and what? Oh, he might have been drunk and kill all the little children's. No. And I tried to tell him to stop in my biggest Karen voice and he grabbed at me. It's like, I don't know why you had to get that close to the guy. But yeah, the jury convicted her. She got convicted of murder. And, this is just one of those deals where why did you do that? Now, am I saying never get involved? No, but if you're going to get involved, you better have a good goddamn reason for it. You better have a really good reason. This was just completely nonsense. It didn't help that, in Georgia, especially with the Ahmaud Arbery stuff, all that's going on. Yeah, this looks bad, but also it wasn't like he had hit somebody and killed them. Like there was a little kid laying on the ground with his head split open and, his brine water everywhere. He hit a semi truck. And he actually hit the trailer. So maybe he bent the Mansfield bar. Was Hannah like, that poor Mansfield bar did nothing wrong. I got to avenge this. I don't know. It was nonsense. Completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. So I don't know. Don't know why she did it. I mean, at the end of the day, it was a really dumb fucking move. If you're going to do this, you better be willing to go to fucking prison over it. And I doubt she was willing to go to prison over this. I guarantee you she didn't. Breach says he didn't stop. She blocked his car. Okay, well. Yeah. Half Irish says, I never saw the malice. Malice can be formed, the premeditation or the decision to kill somebody can be, it only takes like 1 second to form it. There's also the idea that your intention and your actions can be inferred, your state of mind can be inferred from your actions. That there's it's reasonable for jurors to make a determination that your actions are representative of your state of mind. And, that's the issue there. So that is the thing. I don't like it. I don't like it. I mean, do I wish she didn't get charged? Sure, but like Zero Signal saying, never get involved. That's not always true. But if you're going to get involved, be a witness. Don't be a participant. It's like if you're watching a boxing match, you're not going to jump in the ring with as Mike Tyson's throwing hands. Stand there with a towel on the side, and if somebody needs help, help them. But just don't jump in the middle of the fist fight and say, hello, good gentlemen. What can I do? Ow, ow, ow. No. Stand on the side, or maybe you're the guy holding the bell, whatever. Don't get involved like that. Get involved. Be a good witness. This guy's starting to drive away. Like, that's not your job. And let's say she stopped him. Or let's say she didn't have a gun. And she's trying to stop him, and she reaches in and grabs, as he grabs at her, she reaches in, grabs the car keys and whatever. She gets run over, breaks her legs. Okay. Hannah Payne's now got broken legs. Maybe she doesn't walk again. Is she going to sit there and be like, I served my community. I done did what I should do. I made sure no children got run over by that drunk driver. I'm a true patriot. No, you're not. You're going to be like, fuck, I wish I could walk again. Get involved. You better be willing to, you better be willing to go all the fucking way. And if you're going to get involved, there is no crying and bawling when the jury says, sorry, you're going to prison. You're like, well, fuck you guys. I was right. I'm still right. That's how you need to be able to take it. That's what getting tried by 12 versus carried by 6 is. That's how sure you got to be of this stuff. Salty says brain water slightly. Tastes pretty good when it's warmed. Yeah. Aaron says the citizen's arrest was okay at the time. It was never mentioned at trial. Do you think that would have made a difference? No. I mean, people are just going to look at this and see some chick playing police officer. Because there was some of that video of her screaming, get out of the fucking, get out of the car and all that shit. It's like, that's not your job. Not your job. Kimbo says she wouldn't have gotten convicted if it was a 360 no scope. Yep. Too bad she didn't. Yeah. This CBR says dash cams are your best bet. Somewhat, but it's still dash cams are your best bet. Just write down his license plate's your best bet. So let's see here. Pepsi Man says, I'm okay with her being guilty, but I'm not okay with it being premeditated murder. And I understand that. And that's part of the, maybe that part, the jury determined she made her mind up to kill him. And apparently based on that evidence, they determined it only takes a second to get premeditation. Now, yes, do I think more than likely there was some racial animus there? Certainly there was, but that's also part of the reason why you're going to do this. You better be willing to risk the idea you may do this and it's not going to be good. Garrett says, yes, always bring a towel. Yeah, don't forget to bring a towel. Cringe Pillar says, all white people are premeditated to kill black people, according to leftists. Yeah, there is that issue. There is that issue there. But ultimately, that's the problem. You've got to, if you get involved in a situation like this, because I've given this presentation before, I point out like a criminal case, is like a marathon. The actual incident that occurs is like at mile 1. Like all the things that lead up to like a deadly force encounter, boom, it happens. You're at mile 1 of a marathon at that point. Like everything happened, it started, and now you've got the rest of it to run. And you've got political, racial, societal, a million different things happening. They're going to attack you and assail you as you're running down the road, aside from the prosecutor coming after you. So yeah, there are so many considerations, especially as we get in farther and further into this insanity we call society in America. It's only going to get worse. So, well, Tim is saying hire a German Shepherd as a lawyer. Yeah, I don't know if that would help. So, yes. So, yeah, I say, guys, I didn't like this one necessarily, but you don't do shit like this. You don't do shit like this. So that's kind of like the bummer note to start off with today. Now, the interesting thing is we're going to move on to what's going on with former President Trump. Now, this is interesting. So Sidney Powell, as part of her plea deal, had to write a letter of apology for a case down in Hotlanta, Georgia, for Fani Willis. It's part of her RICO case. This is her apology letter. I shit you not. I apologize for my actions and connections with the events in Coffee County. Signed, Sidney Powell, October 19th, 2023. Now, normally, when you're going to make somebody go on the record and plea out, you're going to make them fully account for what they did, and you're going to make a nice elocution on the record. This right here, I apologize for my role. That is, oh boy. Now, if we're going to look at this, think about it this way. The DA's office accepted this. Now, it's not really up to the court at that point. If the prosecutors say, yeah, that's an acceptable apology, or they've accepted responsibility enough and complied with the rules, that's actually, so you guys are saying this isn't good enough. It is, though. The fact Fani Willis accepted this shows how shitty of a case she has. That they were, once again, this goes back to the idea of them making these deals with people, giving Sidney Powell, Chesebro, all these people, even Jen Ellis, even though she started like ratting out, like a cheese-eating rat. They're all getting diversion. They're getting the ability to get probation forgiven. It's because they don't have shit on these people. Remember, like I said, these are the bad men. These are the bad men who helped orchestrate it. It's like giving Albert Speer, probation. No, he's going to jail. He's going to prison for this. He was a bad man doing his part. Okay. Well, Sidney Powell was a bad woman doing her part, according to them. And, well, we're going to let her go. She's going to cooperate. How much does she actually have to give you if this is how much you were willing to make her, state on the record? You don't have shit on these people. This RICO case is going to crash and burn. And this is just further proof of it at this point. Half Irish says at least it wasn't a post-it note. Yes. So, Pepsi Man, you're right. She's like, I just want to say I'm sorry for absolutely fucking nothing. As Conor McGregor says, yes. This is basically it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I did some bad things. The fact you accept this, Fanny, shows you ain't got, it's true.
You're here because you got nothing. You got nothing in court. You don't got the bookkeeper. You got nothing. Nothing. And if you were a man, you would have done it now.
Yeah. Al Capone is right. You got nothing. Half Irish says, was she given a minimum word count? No. But it's Yeah. Real Rob Law says that over on Rumble says that handwriting looks real sloppy to me. That's actually pretty good handwriting for the most part. I mean, go into courtrooms and watch, not necessarily the attorneys, but like regular people come into courthouses and write on things. Like that's really good handwriting overall for the population. So it's it's a very based apology letter. And this is a preview of what's to come at this point. I said come. It's yeah. So just if you guys are worried out there, keep your head up. This is I think this is good news. I think this is very good news. In addition to that, is going on with the Supreme Court right now is the Supreme Court on Wednesday gave out its order list. So if you guys have never seen this before, this is how the Supreme Court tells you what's going to happen. So it says certiorari, and that's what you want, getting certiorari. They also call it cert, getting granted cert. They're going to hear the case. So in this case, it's Thornell, the director of the Arizona Department of Corrections, versus Danielle Jones. So the motion of the respondent for leave to file informa pauperis, meaning as a pauper, being allowed to file without any of the filing fees. The petition for a writ of certiorari is granted. Okay. There's another one here. Napoleon, Ohio et al., which Napoleon, Ohio. What the hell did they do? I'll have to look this one up. Versus Schiavone, Jassa, and all everybody else. That's a case being granted. James Snyder versus the United States being granted cert. Okay. This one down here. Joseph W. Fisher versus the United States. Joseph W. Fisher was convicted of obstructing official proceeding of Congress. And they are going to discuss that case and whether or not that applies, what happened on January 6th. So that's important because there's somebody else who's looking into this as well. And it's a case that's going to help President Trump. So this is going to be involving him too. There's a lot going on. President Trump's case was stayed from Judge Chuck. It's being stayed while the case is being dealt with by the Supreme Court. Now, it's not going to happen fast. I mean, it'll happen fast by Supreme Court standards, but the one thing I will point out is that even when Richard Nixon was forced to give up the tapes by the Supreme Court, it was over 60 days before they issued their ruling. So there's no way this is going to get done before the May 4th hearing. And then I know Robert Gavay is pointing this out, but other people have as well. Okay, well then if you wait till after whatever comes after that, well now you're running into the Miami case. And right after the Miami case is scheduled, guess what? You've got the Georgia RICO case is scheduled. And then guess what? Right after that, you've got the election and just boom, boom, boom. It's just a mess. So on the positive side, that's where things are going. Salty Ball says, I'm shocked he was prepared enough for that clip. I try. Cringe says, meanwhile, there are still citizens rotting in black site prisons. Yes. Peter Spiney says, in form of Popera says, I'm getting Melinda Scott flashbacks. Yes. And Blue Ain says, that's near Toledo. Yes, there is. And for those of you thinking, well, there's a Napoleon, Ohio. Does that mean there's a Wellington, Ohio? Yes, there is. There is a Wellington, Ohio. And its mascot for the schools, the Dukes, like the Duke of Wellington. Sadly, no, they have never played against each other in football. That would be absolutely hilarious. And I would buy the t-shirt for that. I don't think they made one big enough. So, Phone Punk says there's no riots under Zidane. Yes. Salty says, yell at Clyde more, future Mrs. Fett. Yes, apparently Clyde's outside barking, so. Sweetheart, if you're listening, that means they can hear you. Isaac Baruch says they'd have to have a Waterloo County. No, but there's a place, there's a town called Vanloo, which is like the closest. There's no town of Waterloo where they could play football at. So, but it is an interesting thing to look at here. So there will be a lot going on for Trump. So just be ready for that. Just be ready for that. Where was I looking here? Okay. Now, the next thing, speaking of people who are starting to have a lost and losses, there's a Waterloo in Canada, and there's a Waterloo in Iowa. Yes. But it'd be fun if there was a Waterloo here in Ohio that we could play at. Blaine says the only reason I know is because we went to a corn maze while I was there in college. Okay. Well, I used to live out there, so it's interesting. I used to live out there. I went to college out that way too. Dell is saying, "Do you see the Destiny divorce arc? He said his millions are secured to a post-nup." I mean, let's be real. It's Destiny. So the meme of common Destiny L exists for a reason. And it's a rare Destiny dub. So whatever he's got, I'm sure is not going to work. Probably. And even if it does, it's going to be very expensive and very costly. So, yeah. He's going to get Melina's going to take him and take advantage of him like I'm going to preach for taking advantage of her at the end of the day. So, ooh, lad. So, we'll see. Remember, I keep saying this. Any sort of document, yeah, it can be good, but they're not bulletproof. Nothing's bulletproof. Even bulletproof vests don't stop every bullet. Sometimes they get through. So, he can EX or he can pay the lawyers, yeah, or both. Well, he's probably going to pay both. So, last thing. I have content creators block. Any advice for a topic to cover? I mean, I'd start with, I think there's up in Canada, there were some cops who were, I think it was in Calgary, who were harassing a guy. I don't know. That's where I'd start. Just things that are going on. If you see something funny in the news, that's kind of where, I've got like a whole list of things that I got to try to get through. I'm trying to work my way through. So don't worry about it. Even if it's old, even if it's a couple weeks old, couple months old, you can still get to it. Nico says even bullets aren't bulletproof. I know. Yeah. Wear a vest of bullets just glued together. I don't know how that's going to work. Salty Ball says 416 Rigby goes through every time. God, thing is though, if I bought something at 416 Rigby, I then have to go use it, and going on Safari, that's a lot. That's a lot of bands. That's like a good Safari. That's a lot of bills. But that'd be so much fun. Say cover catfish law there. Yes. This is actually a good suggestion for you, Tim. Monty's lawsuit with Ricada would be funny to cover because I don't feel it's appropriate for me to cover it right now. But you should look into it. That'd be kind of funny if you want your good content, if you wanted to do that. So, Goy says the cop on trial for shooting the dude who was eating in his car in the McDonald's parking lot. Wait, he got charged, but I didn't know he's already going to trial. So, So, we're going to keep going here, though. The next topic, somebody I think that I get the feeling a lot's going to happen here, even though we're part of it already. It's already partially started, is Hunter Biden. So, yes, Hunter Biden did his little sideshow out in front of Congress out there talking. And it's neat. You can say whatever you want out there because it's not under oath. But let's say they had actually brought him in because he's under indictment. He's going to say, I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. And now some of you are wondering, he is under indictment, but for what? And I've had the chance to go through it. It took me a little while. And this came out last week. So this is the indictment and what it covers. And I'll explain to you why what he's filed and what his attorneys have filed give me a lot of concern that something's up. And I think some people realize something's going on here. So this is the indictment. It is from the Central District of California. And it's issues about taxes. So it's the evasion of assessments, the failure to file and pay taxes, and false or fraudulent returns. So we're just going to go through this really quick, guys. They talk about Robert Hunter Biden, and that is his actual name. It's not Hunter. It's Robert. I wonder if he gets mad if you call him Bobbert. I had a job once where I had a boss, like my guy in charge of my crew was named Bob. The guy in charge of our whole department was named Bob. And then the guy in charge of like everything, all the departments was named Bob. It's kind of funny. But I asked the guy, the middle Bob, one time, like, can I call you Bobbert? And he's like, if you do, I'll fire you. So apparently Roberts don't like that. But they like being called Bob. Yeah. If you're out there, Bob, I love you. I hope you're doing well. So they point out that Hunter Biden is a lobbyist and a consultant. It's like you're an agent for somebody and doing things on their behalf. And we'll get to why that's an issue, I think. So we do know that at times he was involved in the board of a Ukrainian industrial conglomerate known as Burisma and a Chinese private equity fund. Yes, CEFC. And that he had two companies, Owasco PC and Owasco LLC. In addition to all of this, that when he was going on between the times of that are relevant here, he was working at a multinational law firm, working in an of counsel capacity. Now, of counsel means you don't actually work for the firm, you don't take part in revenue sharing, but you also, the firm doesn't take a cut of your action. You're out there doing your own business, but you're under their, you basically are using their name. And in exchange, they're using your name because they get to put your name on the letterhead. Because that's a prestige thing. And also think about it, from 2009 to 2017, having the vice president's son on your, having that last name on your letterhead could be very helpful. So the law firm he was at, having that name behind you gives Hunter some power as well. So the argument is that he failed to pay at least $1.4 million in self-assessed federal taxes. Okay. And then he owed taxes from 2016 through 2019. And that's the part of it there. Between 2016 and 2020, he received more than $7 million in total gross income. So Hunter's doing pretty good. That's a lot of crack and a lot of hookers. And you'll see there's some documentation of how much crack and hookers. Back in 2014, when he joined Burisma out of Ukraine, he was paid an annual salary of $1 million a year. A couple years later, they docked it down to $500,000. Such a hardship. It's a hardship to go down to $500,000. So in 2016, he received $1 million. 2017, he received $630,000. And then in 2019, he received $160,000. He was involved in some things in Romania. He was helping the Romanian government, or somebody contest bribery charges he was facing in his home country, which I wonder if there's some issues about him doing lobbying and being a foreign agent in Romania. Maybe he can share a cell with Andrew Tate. That'd be interesting. Then he talked about working with CEFC, the Chinese energy company. And then here, in December of 2015, he met in Washington, D.C. with individuals associated with that company. I think there's a lot of investigation going on about why were you in Washington, D.C. meeting with people who were part of a foreign company operating out of China? Because the Chinese government still owns that. They can call it private. but that is a Chinese-owned company. It's almost like you might be a foreign agent, and I doubt he was registered because you have to register as a foreign agent. Kind of think Hunter might get smoked with some FARA coming up because that seems a little bit of an interesting thing there. Yeah, and I'm not talking about FARA Fawcett. We're talking about FARA, the Foreign Agents Registration Act. So, yeah, it is interesting. It is, yeah, I think there's a big problem with this. I read through this and I'm like, ooh. I don't know why you'd put this down if you weren't really interested in it. I don't know why, because that's something I'm looking at. And we also talked about that. This was something. This is something that it's going to pile up. We talked about all those crimes that he could have gotten hit for. The Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, with this here and what he did in Romania could be considered a Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, possibly. What he's done all over the world might be considered Foreign Corrupt Practice Act, Foreign Agent Registration Act, money laundering, structuring. He didn't get charged with those yet. But I've talked about this before. When you have tax problems, especially with money like this, where you got sketchy money running around, why? Well, I'm trying to avoid paying taxes on it because I can't account for where it came from. So I structure my deposits, and then I try to launder the money. Or at times I might try to launder the money, then structure the deposits to hide it all. And I get the feeling Hunter's not done yet. I get the feeling. There's a bunch more. It talks about a different energy company. He was involved in State Energy HK, which that's definitely not a government entity. And it keeps going on for a little while. Then there are some other parts here. I do love this when they talk about in the indictment, the U.S. system relies on the honesty and integrity of individual taxpayers. Too bad we can't get that kind of honesty and integrity out of the government. The defendant had a legal obligation to pay taxes on all his income. Now, this is the part I will say on Hunter's behalf, I do think is bullshit. If you earn your money outside of America, we're the only country where your money like that, you get taxed this way on foreign-owned earnings. There might be some little shithole countries that do it like this, but generally speaking, if you're out of the country in a lot of places, they don't tax you like this, even though you're a U.S. citizen. So this is something I do not like. I do not like, and I support him in that regard. So we keep going down here, though. The best part is the expenses. And oh my gosh. And this is funny. This space left intentionally blank. Why? Because they had to put together the following summary of expenditures, and it's so big. It's like a little kid. It's like so big. So, yes, they start off with the ATM cash withdrawals. Over the course of 4 years, $1.66 million. What kind of bank does he use? I want to know. That's a lot of money. Holy cow. That is a lot. I don't know where he's doing that from. And then you get to see, payments to various women. I love this. Payments, various women. We call those hookers. But I do appreciate the DOJ being a little couth about it. 2016, like $4,400. Like, yeah, you made $1 million. You're gonna throw the hookers like 4 stacks. I mean, that's fine. But by the end of the 4 years, $683,000. I mean, damn. He just made Boogie 2988 look like a bitch. If you guys are aware, Boogie spent I think he said he spent almost $180,000 on hookers over a couple of years. But damn, Boogie, you need to get up to Hunter's level. Hunter ain't screwing around. Over $500,000 on hoes. Clothing accessories, $400,000 in clothes. Health, beauty, and pharmacy, $237,000. We know that wasn't for his teeth because he was still on crack at this point. And then we get down to adult entertainment, $188,000. Oh, what the hell? You got hookers. You're going to the strip club too, man. That's a lot of ones to. That's a lot of time in the champagne room, maybe too. I mean, like that's what, like maybe a whole day in a champagne room somewhere. Because as Chris Rock says, there is no sex in the champagne room. Yeah, and I love this rehab, drugs, and alcohol. It's like, yeah, he did it a little bit in 2016. Yeah, he's like, I'll try it a little bit. Then he tries it a lot in 2017. Then 2018, he tries a lot more. Then 2019, he's like, yeah, I'm just going to skip it. He's like, I could take this money for drug rehab and I could roll it into the hooker fund. I'll do asset reallocation. I'll restructure. Spent over $70,000 on rehab. And a grand total of $4.9 million. Jeez Louise. Now, the reason why this all came to a head for Hunter were his lawsuits that were against him in Arkansas for child support. There was the one for his ex-wife. There's also the one for the stripper who named her kid Navy. The grandchild Hunter Biden didn't want to see. So he was being told you're going to be in contempt if you don't provide your tax information so we can do child support. So those were provided, and guess what? He boned himself many different ways. And that is really ultimately what happened with Hunter here. Now, this part, and this, everything here is what he's facing. They talk about what he had to do. He's facing 3 felonies, 6 misdemeanors. Is he going to go away forever? No. I mean, he'll get fined. He'll get slapped with a lot of fine. If he even does go to prison, he's looking at like 24 to he's looking at like 2 to 3 years. If that. There's a good chance it could deviate down below. I mean, then there's also the issue Joe could just say you're pardoned. So, the Dr. Gnome says, shout out to the $8 on sports. Well, hold on here. What did he? Sports recreation. Yes, that's funny. I didn't see that earlier. Yes, he spent just $8 on sports and recreation. He got mad one day and he's like, fuck these guys. I'm going to go play putt-putt by myself. What did you do? Mr. Biden, what did you do that $8? He's like, I rode the go-karts by myself. $8 in tokens at the bat. Nobody wanted to go meet the batting cages. SB Seller saying, why was this filed in California? He was a California resident at the time, and I think there were probably some other issues, but yes, at that time he lived in Cali. I think he still lives in California. So, yeah. Brit Bat says, how much did he spend on antibiotics? Oh, I bet Hunter's T cells need to carry a gun at this point. Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean he must be very resilient. It's like Rick and Morty with the gonorrhea monster. And Porcelain Thunder says he didn't make it rain, it was a friggin' typhoon. Yes. It's a lot of money at the strip club. And Jonathan Conklin does bring up the silver lining. Don't fret. This is very true, Jonathan. Positive news. Your taxes didn't pay for this. The bribes he took paid for this. And you know what? That's at least got to make you happy. Makes you happy that your tax dollars weren't allocated. Although, to be fair, the Secret Service agents had to go with him to the strip clubs and go with him to the hooker parties. So, sorry, those guys were already going to be working there. Wow, why did I do that? That was dumb. Pepsi Man says he spent $8 on the album Sports by Huey Lewis. Yeah, that was a Yes. He just had to listen to hip to be a square so much. Yes, the Pie Case, yes. Yes, it's a classic album. It's got such great hits. Claude says the moral, always start a punch card. Yeah. He did some mini golf, yeah. Salty says, how much was involved in taking minors across state lines? Yes, I still think Hunter's got massive issues with human trafficking problems. Even being involved in human trafficking overseas, you could still get in trouble for that. There's Americans who have gotten in trouble for their sex tourism, especially like in Thailand. So I think Hunter's got problems with that. And I'm certainly his penchant for young hookers and his young nieces and nephews certainly would be problematic for him if there are real investigations into that. And I've brought it up before, and I've said it, I'll say it again, guys. Those pictures of Hunter Biden having sex with people who might be younger, whoever they are, do not post them. Don't touch them. Don't save them. I think a lot of that's a honeypot because you don't know how old they are. And yeah, they've been censored. Really? Like, are you sure that's censored enough to the standards where it's not pornography depicting a child in a sexual act? Yeah, don't be touching none of that stuff. Stay away from that. People are trying to post it or share it with you. Get it off your pages. You don't want to be around any of that stuff. Saban says, he carried that AIDS longer than Magic Johnson. Yes. Porcelain Thunder says those bribes were from foreign aid money. Maybe. Yeah, Triconoclast's drone strike. Sadly, not yet. I'm still here on this earth. So. Hit to be squares on 4, not sports. Oh, it was? Oh, I thought it was on sports. Yes, I'm a big fat phony. So. Josh has spent $1 million on hookers and blow. You get the next 3 STDs free. Yes. Now, it gets more interesting for Hunter because he's got a case over in Delaware. Oh, wrong one. Yeah, I'm sorry here. This one here. So he's still got his case in Delaware, his case involving gun charges. If you guys don't remember, Hunter Biden, when he was filling out the 4473 to go buy a snub-nosed 38, which, I mean, that's better than like a high point, which is what I expect a crackhead to buy. A high point 9mm and a Mossberg Maverick. That's real crackhead guns. He bought it. He lied on the form saying that he checked no on the box, that he is not an unlawful user of drugs and is not addicted to drugs. Well, when you lie in the 4473, they can charge you for that. Now, is it unconstitutional? Yes. And I brought this up before. We were talking about it, that Hunter Biden may be the vehicle of destroying parts of the Gun Control Act, which, if you aren't aware, the 4473 came about as part of the Gun Control Act. It criminalized a lot of things involving firearms federally. And if he is, so be it. It's never going to be Susie Soccer Mom who writes good case law. And we talked about this. Ernesto Miranda, bad guy. Matt v. Ohio, not nice people. Terry v. Ohio, they were robbers. All kinds of people involved in everything. Case law is never written by good people. And yes, am I saying that Terry v. Ohio was good? No, but I'm just pointing out it's never just like Bob the accountant walking down the street. So in this case, it is a crack-addled loser of a human being who operates solely to exist being the bagman for an elaborate money laundering scheme. So his attorneys filed a motion to dismiss under a constitutionally permissible offense. A job well done saying over on Rumble, if Hunter takes down the NFA, I'll buy him a hooker and some crack. I probably would too. So his attorneys are putting together a case, and they cite this one here. They cite United States v. Daniels. Why is that important? Well, they point out that this is from the Fifth Circuit, and it struck down a guy who was being charged with using a controlled substance and violating 18 U.S.C. 922 G3, and that's the portion of it. Just like, the other parts of 18 U.S.C. 922 GR, are you a felon or a fugitive from justice? Are you under indictment? Been convicted of a crime for more than 1 year? Been dishonorably discharged? Are you a non-resident? Alien of your not your citizenship? All those things, which are all bullshit. But, part of us is, hey, the equal application of the laws is ultimately good. Even if they're bad laws, you want to see them equally applied. So when they're equally applied, eventually people are going to say, wait, we need to get rid of this. And I think it's funny that people on the left are starting to realize, wow, these gun control laws are bad. And maybe Hunter's the reason why they get killed off. So they point out that there's already a Fifth Circuit case going. Delaware is not in the Fifth Circuit. Delaware is in the Third, I believe. It's not in the Fifth because the Fifth is Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. So that is not a problem. Delaware is in... Yes, Delaware is in the Third. So there will be a split of circuits, and certainly this one would probably get certiorari, given who it is. And going through this, they point out, getting ultimately to the big thing, they point out Bruin. And you love to see it. You love to see every time Bruin is brought up. And they talk about going through in the historical context, there's no historical precedent for prohibiting ownership by people who were habitual users of substances. Maybe when you were intoxicated right that minute, they could take your gun away. But if you're, the city drunkard, if you weren't drunk, they wouldn't be able to take your guns. And they point out there's no historical precedent, so therefore it violates the Second Amendment under the Bruin framework, which I'm sure these attorneys were having a bit of a stroke as they had to type this out. And I'm sure that's these diehard liberals were not thrilled about that, but that's how you know they're good attorneys. They went harder in the paint to help their client. They also cited United States versus Rahimi, where he's challenging under the prohibited persons for a domestic violence restraining order. Now, the Rahimi case was a dumpster fire of oral arguments and facts. And I think that's going to make bad law ultimately. So, yeah, but I do think that the standard to establish the burden of proof in a domestic violence or restraining order, protection order hearing is generally preponderance of the evidence. And we don't allow that to strip someone of their rights as far as due process is concerned in the court of law. If you're convicted of an offense and we strip your right to be free, your right to vote, the right to own weapons, we throw you in prison. We take your rights away. You generally have to prove it to a decent threshold. And these cases don't do it. They point out that the court, and this is something you guys need to, and I point this out all the time, that the Fifth Circuit seemed apologetic when they talked about Rahimi, and that's the case involving the protection orders. These judges aren't just sitting there base saying, fuck it, I want everybody to own an Uzi, and, yeah, brother, Second Amendment, Mullen, Libya. That's not how most of these judges are. They are still fairly normy. But they look at the case and go, well, I really don't want to do this, but I guess I have to. And they point out that it's not whether this is it's a laudable policy goal. They're not arguing that. They're trying to distance themselves by saying, look, I'm not saying this isn't a bad idea. I'm just saying it's not legal the way you're doing it. And that just shows you these judges that they had a chance to bail on a lot of these. A lot of them would bail. So just remember, these judges are not your friends at the end of the day. And they point out that even if this is favorable, this is not something the framers would have envisioned as permissible. Yeah. I'm sure the framers would say, yeah, it'd suck if you're beating your wife, or it'd suck if you're completely doing drugs all the time. But they would never say, take the guns away. And they point out Bruin framework is clear and the historical record is immutable. And the same before this is court when the Fifth Circuit addressed it. They also point out some cases that are in the Third Circuit. One of them is Range versus the Attorney General. And it just got decided. Range, he was denied the right to a firearm because of a prior felony conviction for making food stamp fraud, welfare fraud. So the Third Circuit found it unconstitutional because he didn't commit a crime of violence. That was a procedural crime, a white-collar crime, more or less, even though, white-collar people don't lie on food stamp stuff, but just to point out that it's a non-violent offense. So they point out that it was overbroad, the bans on possessing firearms. They wanted to limit it to non-violent people, having the right, and then barring violent people, which is a start, but you still don't want to sit there and parse things down. I mean, it's a little better, but then you have to keep chiseling away at things. They all then point out, like, oh, this is so unfair. They turned this one case into 3 separate felonies. Welcome to dealing with prosecutors. That's what they do. They rack and stack charges. That's their job. That's their raison d'etre. That is their life. They eat and breathe that. They eat and breathe it. They point out that, there's no answer to Scalia's question in Abramski that, 924A1A does not criminalize answers to irrelevant questions. And that's the thing out of Abramski that if you guys want to look into it, it's interesting. The bigger thing here is, though, this. In a case of United States v. Yates, the obstruction of justice statute that the defendant was charged with filing was part of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Legislation designed to protect investors and restore trust in financial markets following the collapse of Enron. And they point out the Supreme Court said it would cut the statute loose from its financial fraud mooring to hold that encompasses any and all objects, whatever its size, significance, or destroyed with obstructive intent. So yes, obstructing Congress in a formal proceeding like that, it came out of partially out of Sarbanes-Oxley. You can apply this. Trump's team could apply all of this right here. I'm sure they will. But Hunter Biden's attorneys kind of said the quiet part out loud a little bit. I understand they're so hell-bent on helping their friend, and I'm sure Trump's got decent attorneys. But yes, I'd be making this argument as well if I was in Trump's shoes. That all of this was meant to not cover what happened. If you guys, Sarbanes-Oxley is a corporate reporting act and a attempt to force corporations to not be like Enron. So something to think about, something big, like a little bit of an oopsie poopsie there. So Greg McNeely says, Enron, put those documents in the wood chipper. Pepsi Man says, the hunter has become the hunted. It's very much like Muldoon in Jurassic Park. Oh. Mavka's saying, imagine a world where Trump and Hunter became cellmates. That would be a sitcom. That would be funny. That would be very, very funny. Chad McMyer says, High Point's the official sponsor of Ohio. Yes, it is. It is Ohio's gun. It is the gun of Ohio, man. So, Fair Frozen 55 is saying the crackhead Lorson. Yes. Yes, that is true. That is fair. Let's see here. Who else is... yeah, sorry, I was trying to see where I was at here. Metal Matt says, Sean, if I were to get going 160 on my motorcycle, would I lose the ability to own and buy guns? No, not in the United States. Although, let's say you were convicted of reckless operation or something like that. Yeah, I could see a court putting you on probation, and typically a term of probation includes you must abide by the terms of this court and all of its general rules. And a common general rule of probation is no guns. You're not allowed to own firearms at that time. Then over on locals, Anger sent a $1 tip saying Sean is marrying a they, them. Didn't realize I said at the time, no, she is 100% she, her. And then Vawa sent $3 tip, thank you very much, saying, thanks, Sean, for always being reliable, buddy. Thank you, I appreciate that. Salty Ball says, high point when you literally can't carry a brick. Yeah, well. Gary Prey says it'd be the prison apprentice. Yes. We're going to start a cigarette trade. The best cigarette trade. Who can bring me the most cigarettes? You guys are talking about S. Smith & Wesson triggers. Okay, yeah. So that's, you guys can, they're not bad. You guys can keep working through that. But like I said, I think this is some very important stuff to consider when you want to address whether or not things are going to look bad for Trump going forward. I honestly don't think they won't. So Hunter's going to have an interesting time. And he's got, I still think there's more coming his way. Moving on into updates from our girl down in Florida, America's sweetheart, Sarah Boone, the luggage packer extraordinaire. So she has not sent a letter to the judge. Things seem to be going along. She is still set for trial on January 29th. This motion here makes me think that's not going to happen, and I'll explain why. I didn't think it was going to happen anyway, but this motion really kind of seals the deal. So this is from her attorney, and this is a motion to reappoint private investigator and a motion to incur additional costs and charges for the private investigator. So when you are representing somebody who's indigent, they can't afford their own investigators. It just doesn't work that way. It just is what it is. They can't afford it. So the court will appoint somebody. Or, for example, in Sarah's case, initially, her previous attorney was looking to get an expert witness who could testify and help her out. So they were looking to get money together for that. Because if you could afford it on your own, you're expected to pay for that. I don't necessarily agree with that idea that, if the state's going to come after you and force you to defend yourself, the state should have to pay for that. I think that would really encourage the state to take a pause and decide, do we really need to charge everybody? But that's another philosophy topic for another day. So they point out that Sarah's been charged with second-degree murder. She is indigent. She cannot afford her own defense. The undersigned was appointed representative. On February 15th, there was an order signed for Lewis Aran and Associates to provide private investigative services. So they were hiring a private detective. They are requesting the Prison Break investigation be reappointed back as the private investigative group. They require the additional assistance of a private investigator to assist in preparing the defense, but not limited to interviewing and locating witnesses, locating documents, performing background checks, and researching factual issues at the established rate of $50 an hour with a maximum of $7,500. So that investigator can go out and interview people. Now, he can be used as your detective. He could say, let's say if you're the attorney and you interview a witness and they say something and that you're contradicting, that's a bit of an issue. It's easier to have your private detective go out, interview the guy, and say, he told me something completely different. And I used to be a police officer. I retired with honors. I had a stellar record. So believe me, there's a whole reason behind this. So, they are asking for that. The anticipated cost of the service, and this is also the issue, serving subpoenas. There's all kinds of things right here. The court reporter appearance fee, the investigative fees, and the disposition hearing transcripts as needing the statutory amount. If they decide, hey, we need a transcript of a hearing. Well, if you're indigent, the court can have transcripts prepared at the state's expense. If you lose, then you owe all that. but got bigger problems. Like in Sarah Boone's case, she's going away forever. So we will see what happens. It's signed by Winston Hobson. It's the new attorney. So I don't think we're going to get going anytime soon, because even if the court grants this and the PI starts doing work, how's he going to be done in time? Because let's say the court granted it today. It's the 14th. You've got 2 weeks till the end of the month, and then you've got another 30 days. And remember, you have to provide the state with notice ahead of time of evidence you intend to introduce, especially if it's related to defenses that you may anticipate, like an alibi or some sort of self-defense or other defense that's available. Well, you're not going to, there's no time to be ready. Remember, this is December, so the next 2 weeks, I mean, how much is really going to happen between, the week before Christmas and New Year's? Not much. So I don't think Sarah Boone's going to trial in January. If she does, I'll eat my hat. I don't know what hat I'll eat, but I'll eat something. Maybe I'll eat a sandwich shaped like a hat. So Garrett Pace's baggage fees, that's where they get you. Yes. Yes. Gina says they misspelled Rhea Point. It's like in Band of Brothers. They're like, oh, can't believe it. They misspelled court martial. She's got this case in the bag. Yes. Greg is saying regarding Enron, document shredders, Sidney Powell, the Kraken, was unequivocally against the government prosecution. Legal analysis of, you mean the government prosecuting Enron? Well, Robert Mueller was part of that, and the people behind the Mueller team were involved in that. Yeah, look what happened to the Enron guys. A bunch of them got acquitted on appeal. Their convictions are reversed. So, yes, the government completely fucked it up. A lot of those guys walked or had heavily reduced sentences. That was in the aftermath. So, yeah, the government did an awful job prosecuting Enron. Yes, the suit case, or the suit / case. Samsonite Sarah, yes. So, Garrett says, don't I have a pith helmet back there? Yeah, but that's, I want to eat all that cork. That might give me tummy rumblings. So I'll hold off on that. So Sarah is not going to trial anytime soon, I don't think. But at the very least, she seems to be happy with his attorney because she isn't complaining about him. Another interesting thing going on right now is the ACLU has a new client, the NRA, which, part of me's thinking, where have you been the past 30 years? But I guess better late than never. And, yeah. And also representing the NRA at this point in time, people are, I do think the NRA serves its purpose now. It's the boogeyman. It's the lightning rod that lets Gun Owners of America, Second Amendment Foundation, National Association on Gun Rights, all those guys move under the radar. So the NRA does serve a purpose in that regard. Also, it just funnels Boomer money, and apparently Boomers still like doing it. Got my NRA hat on. As our house would Fudbuster say it with the NRA Fuds, but they do have it. Now, what happened to the NRA? Well, the NRA is suing the state of New York. And the reason why is the state of New York really kind of did some shitty things here. So what happened? Well, and the biggest thing is the ACLU saying, we do not support the NRA or its mission. We signed on as co-counsel because public officials shouldn't be allowed to abuse the powers of the public to blacklist an organization just because they oppose an organization's views. Why didn't they just say that part? Why did they have to come up here and do that? Because that's kind of shitty to your client. So what happened is Maria Vullo, the former superintendent of the New York Department of Financial Services, went after the NRA. And how did she do that? Well, after the 2018 shooting in Parkland, Nicholas Cruz doing his handiwork there and, introduced us to the likes of people like Fred Gutenberg, which, fuck that guy. And we found out a lot of those kids had assholes for parents in Parkland. The this lady went around and leaned on banks and insurance companies to stop doing business with the NRA. The NRA is incorporated in the state of New York from back in 1871. So it's not like recently they're like, oh, we're going to go up to New York. That's not a good idea. No, this is a long time thing. They've been a long time established in New York. Although it's funny because the NRA's headquarters is down in Virginia. So thinking, why wouldn't you just be where you're at? But you're allowed to do that. So she leveraged those companies and leaned on them to tell them, hey, you should, the concern trolling. Did you know the NRA is so bad? These little kids have died. They're so bad. And organizations quit working with the NRA. Now, the Second Circuit said, officials can't use their regulatory powers to coerce individuals. But they said it's okay if government officials have a right. They have the right, indeed a duty, to address the issues of public concern. It's really bad. These kids are dying and they're behind it. We can't tolerate this anymore. What do you think people are going to interpret if you talk about it like that as the government? They're going to know. They're going to do something. So this is all bullshit. Hopefully the Supreme Court fucking thumps this because this is garbage. And the 2-1 decision, they said the documents were written in an even-handed, non-threatening tone and employed words intended to persuade rather than intimidate. Oh, yeah, I'm sure that was, yes, still having the government interfering in private organizations is what you want. Yes, and in the aftermath of what's happened with Twitter and every other social media company, and the government's like, look, we're really concerned. You guys shouldn't be doing this. Well, guess what? You're going to listen to the government. So now it does get funnier though because of what happens with the various ACLU offshoot groups and its subordinate groups, including the ACLU Montana saying we dissent, and the New York City Civil Liberties Union saying we strongly disagree with their decision to provide direct support to the NRA. We will not participate in this case, even though it comes out of New York. The ACLU of North Carolina says they stand with the NYCLU in dissenting. I dissent. I can't, that phrase, all the Ruth Bader Ginsburg stands have tried to make popular. I'm dissenting. Look at me. I'm dissenting. I'm telling you I dissent. Fuck off. That is so cringe. So cringe. So cringe. The ACLU of SoCal retweeted the same thing. I dissent. And then, yes, the ACLU of Louisiana said the same thing. They agree. We dissent, y'all. Just absolute garbage. Absolute garbage out there. But you love to see them tear each other apart. Because why not? Nothing better to watch these people chew each other in half. Porcelain Thunder says Remington announced last week they're closing its New York plants in March. Yes, which is sad because, Remington, that's where they got their start, was up in New York, in the state of New York. POV walks with roving Cyclops. I think I've seen you around here before, but thank you. Thanks for being here. It says the gay CLU is just a front for leftist lawfare most of the time. It is. But hey, there's no such thing as having friends, but you do have interests. So use what you can. Salty Ball says the FUD Association. Yes, the NRA is paused, very pause loaded. Lost in Law says, isn't that a massive ethical red flag? Yes, but they're big boy groups, so it's not an issue. But if you try to do it, yeah, it wouldn't go well. So Kimbo says, how's this live streaming thing work? At what point does the stewardess come out and serve us dinner? Well, that stewardess, it's interesting how this works. You simply, you simply yell at a fairly loud tone for the stewardess, which responds to the name of Mommy. And you just scream out, Mommy, get me tendies. I'm ready for my tendies, Mommy. And the stewardess will come out and give you your tendies. So that's how you're going to get your food, Kimbo. Salty says, didn't they want to restructure the organization in Texas? Yeah, but they're kind of stuck dealing with all the crap that's going on right now. And like I said, the NRA couldn't happen to nicer people. If Wayne LaPierre and all those people involved go to prison, nothing would warm my heart at this point more than that. That would be hilarious. Unhung Hero for $2 says, I'm going to come. A little bit late to the party on that one. It's like a hang fire. But yes, don't come. Don't come. Wasn't sure if you were going to come. So, Vodka Blood says, you ever make the luggage tags? I was kind of at the preliminary stage, and I haven't advanced further than that. Some of the trial work I had through the summer and now into this did not get where I was going, but I am going to try to get back on that because I should have some time coming up in January. And also, obviously, with the holidays, I can start working on that again. So, Boone luggage tag. Someone merged that. I know. I'm the one who brought this up. This has been my idea that I have not been able to fruition. But I think I'm in a spot now where I've been able to figure out different ways to merch things. So I think I can do that. And I also have a lot of ideas for merch coming out for you guys. So if you're interested, hang tight. There should be a lot of fun stuff coming up. And by fun, it'll be kind of neat. Not like, oh my God, this is the best cocaine ever fun. Porcelain Sing tendies, yes. Amateur Iconoclast says, anyone else happy the gun factories are closing in the Northeast on the eve of the Second Civil War? I mean, let them use Remington guns. Half of them don't have enough quality control anyway, so it's not like, no, you guys keep all the Colts and all the Remingtons you want. Keep them up there. So, yeah. Salty Ball says, let me know when you're kind of out of the stories. I got questions. If you put a question, I don't know, super chat me a question. I'll hold on to it till we get to the end. We've got a couple more things to go, though. Not too many more. I can say that much. In other news, and this goes to Michael Cohen, speaking of rats, just like Jenna Ellis, that cheese-eating snitch, that rat, Michael Cohen. He's still got problems in federal court. And this is... Oh, Access, John Cardillo's in trouble again. Yeah, I need to get into that because there's a lot there. Jonathan secretly saying, I want high points for Christmas. You know what? You buy me a 10mm high point carbine, I will shoot the fuck out of that thing. You buy me one of those 9mm, I will shoot the fuck out of that thing. Those things run and are bomb proof. So, and now that I got a 3D printer for Christmas, I can make all kinds of shit for it. So this is Michael Cohen's case. If you guys remember, he snitched out and pled out to a bunch of things. Why? Well, because he's a snitch, and that's what snitching does. That's what snitches do. So his attorney, back in November, there was some filings made asking for his early termination of supervised release because he's on supervised release, which is basically probation. They asked, hey, can we terminate early? And they filed a motion with a letter attached citing decisions. And we've gone over this a couple of times in with the way how courts handle this, federal court, you can file, you write a letter, and then it also can contain what you're wanting to talk about. So, in that brief letter, Mr. Cohen asserts that recently as 2022, there have been district court decisions affirmed by the Second Circuit Court granting early termination of supervised release. Then he cites 3 such examples. Not B, V, US v. Figueroa Flores, US v. Ortiz, and US v. Amato. Now, if you guys notice all this gobbledygook at the end, these are the citations. And this one right here says Ortiz, 2022 WL, and then it says 4424741. That's Westlaw. Okay. And those are information you can look up a case, because if you're trying to cite things, if I want the court to know something, well, you bring that up and you use it. Well, guess what? Those cases don't exist. So what does that mean? And how does the court know? Well, the court says these cases don't exist because if you do 64 Federal 4th, page 223, so volume 64 of the Federal 4th, page 223, refers to a page in the middle of a Fourth Circuit decision that has nothing to do with supervised release. See United States v. Drake, which is the actual place where that happened. 64 Federal 4th, starting on page 220. And that's the page that the citation starts on, or the case. In this one, they're saying that the case started on page 223. Well, it's not there. So not even the right thing. Then they talk about the Westlaw number corresponds to a decision with the Board of Veterans Appeals. And it says, see title redacted by agency, Board of Veterans Appeals, and then it's got some docket numbers and stuff from 2022. They also point out that 2020, the other one appears to respond to nothing at all. So that one's, that's the worst part. It's like, bro, this one doesn't, it's not even like you cited the wrong case or the wrong page. That one just doesn't exist. Now, here's the deal. If you mess up, so for example, let's say it's a case of Montegra, or the case of Quest v. Ricada, and it's got a case citation, and I mess up the citation, but the caption, the title of the plaintiff and defendant are right, and I'm trying to research it, and I've had this happen before where you're reading through a motion, something's been cited, and you're like, I can't find that, because if you can, you take the citation and you start searching with the numbers. So in this case here, you would take this 64 F4 220, you'd copy and paste it into your search engine that you're doing legal research on, boom, spit the case out, run with it. Well, that doesn't exist here because it's not right. But you know what I could do? I could then go back to this case here and go to United States v. Figueroa Flores. I could copy and paste that. Now, there might be multiple Figueroa Floreses out there. He might have multiple cases, but I could probably figure out, if he's saying it happened in 2023, I could look Second Circuit, bam, 2023. This must be the one he's talking about. And you find out, okay, instead of 223, it was 232. Sometimes that happens. I've misdone a citation before. It's not the end of the world. The problem is when it's completely not the right thing, well, that becomes a problem because it's not even like you could figure out, oh, they actually meant this case. No, you can't even, they don't even know what cases this guy was talking about. And that's a problem. That is a big, big problem now. It's a massive problem. That is a massive problem. Because if the court can't figure out what you're looking at, well, what the heck are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? I mean, how do you do that? How do you that doesn't There's no way to fucking work on this. There's no way to work on this. I mean, there literally isn't at that point. I don't know what you do from here. There's no way to get around that. So what does it look like happened? Well, appears somebody used artificial intelligence, and the court kind of suspects that. Court's got its hunch, and I don't think the court's wrong. So the court pointed this out here, and this is the court saying it's not alone in being able to find these cases. New counsel. So Michael Cohen has new counsel since then. Followed an appearance on his behalf after the government opposed his motion, and with the court's leave, filed a reply letter. The reply letter states that many courts in this district have granted early termination, supervised release in similar cases, and after citing the various cases, mostly by docket number, which include the following in a footnote, such rulings rarely result in reported decisions. While several cases were initially cited in the motion filed by different counsel, undersigned counsel was not engaged at that time and must inform the court that it has been unable to verify those citations. Yeah, so guess what happened? His new attorney says, and this is what you have to do. If you can't answer that question and it looks like somebody else screwed up, you have to get out in front of that. If you don't, that's on you now. There is no way of getting around that. So there is no way for you to bullshit your way out of this. If you know something's wrong and it turns out because you know what, if you're coming into the case, you're going to look at what was just filed because you're responding to the government's plea response. So you're like, okay, well then what did the guy before me file so I can figure out how I'm going to argue stuff? You're like, uh-oh, I can't verify any of this. Well, that's not good. But what happens then at that point? Well, you know somebody lied or something's not correct. You need to get out in front of it. You know? And by him getting out in front of it, well, I didn't mess up. So you getting out in front of it helps hold you clear of the problem. Because now you're making it clear, it's not my problem. I didn't sign on to this. But this is a way for you to get away from it. Because if you don't, this is just, it's not going to work. I mean, you guys understand this. Like, you have to get out in front of this. You have to come clean there. There's no getting away from this at this point. And it's just not good. So, yeah, you just... So then the court goes on because, wait, there's more. The court contacts the clerk of court for the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. So the Second Circuit is in charge of New York, where this happened, the Southern District of New York. So they went through it, and guess what? They called the court and said, hey, we're trying to figure some stuff out here. Do these cases exist at all? Nope. Nope. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. So the court's going to figure stuff out because the court's trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. In the light of the foregoing, Mr. Schwartz shall no later than December 19th provide copies of the 3 cited decisions to the court. And that's important because we're talking about who his attorney is. Well, the person who wrote the letter that's part of the record as number 95 is a different attorney. And that's not Mr. Schwartz. That is an attorney, E. Dana Perry, or Danya Perry. And that's the attorney who signed off the letter, saying they filed the letter that they signed off on. So this is the new attorney. We're going back to this one here, though. This is another attorney has to provide those 3-sided decisions to the court. Where are they? What do they say? You're claiming they exist. Okay. If he can't do so by that date, he should show on the same date, show cause in writing why he should not be sanctioned. Pursuant to Rule 11B, 2, and C of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, which, why is that the civil procedure governing this? Because there's not necessarily a provision in the criminal rules. Well, you go to the next, you can use the civil rules to fill in the gap. That's a very common thing in Ohio. If the criminal rules don't cover a subject, you can use the civil rules because maybe it does cover that subject. Then sometimes you're just completely screwed. But why is this important? Well, Rule 11 points out that when you sign something, you're putting your name on it. You're representing to the court that when you sign something, you're representing to the court that, you know, it's not being represented for an improper purpose to harass or cause increased litigation, that these are non-frivolous arguments. I mean, this is important. And then there's, the idea of sanctions that can then happen. So you've got to explain why. Then there's 28 USC 927 is being also argued here. God, I thought I had that up, and I guess I closed it out accidentally. And this becomes counsel's liability for excessive cost. To have these hearings cost money. That's court cost. So this attorney could get sanctioned for court cost, the cost of having the hearing. And then finally and they bring up a case, the inherent power of the court for citing non-existent cases to the court. And this goes back to the case that a bunch of people talked about over the summer, Mata v. Avianca Incorporated. And that's where the attorneys used it, and they made up, the cases were made up, but the cases also had made up rulings and opinions. And remember, though, those attorneys didn't get in trouble for as much for the AI, but they lied about all kinds of other shit on top of it that made it even worse. That's why you don't lie. If you fuck up and own it. You got to move. You got to get out in front of it, because you won't stay behind. You will not stay in front of a lie forever. You got to get out in front of it if something's happened. If you made a mistake, you can make a mistake. You can own it. Court might get mad at you, but eventually, you came forward with it. And yeah, it's going to suck, but you get to survive. If you lie, you're done. So any such submission will take the form of a sworn declaration, provide, among other things, a thorough explanation of how the motion came to cite cases that do not exist and what role, if any, Mr. Cohen played in the drafting and reviewing the motion before it was filed. Now, if you guys want my idea of what happened, I'm sure Michael Cohen tried to draft this himself and said, look, I'm going to draft this even though I've been disbarred. I'll save you money. Just sign it. So this attorney Schwartz did that, and this is why, as attorneys, if you give me something, I'm not fucking signing it. Like, oh, I did a bunch of research, and I'm like, oh, okay, thank you, and I put it off to the side. I am not. I will say, oh, you're like, what's your basic idea? Oh, okay, cool, we're on the same page. But other than that, no, I am not doing the research you gave me. I'm not signing off on the motion you wrote. This is why you don't. And Michael Cohen, as a dumb fuck, remember, he's an idiot, did this. So Michael Cohen's probably going to get fucked in this as well. So I'm sure this attorney is going to not jump on that grenade. He's going to get in trouble for doing what his client gave him. But Michael Cohen, oh Lord, he is going to get fucked hard. So, the Trump curse gets you, Michael. Hope you have fun with that one. That is where that's going for him. Salty says, I think this document killed this chat. Yeah. The Cunning Lingo says, am I late for Mandy? I don't know. I haven't seen Mandy around. Maybe Mandy's over in the kibbutz in Israel. Went back there to hide. So, wow, that really apparently nobody gave a shit about this one. Wow, I thought people would think this is funny, but nobody seemed to care. Just causes I'm hoping he's held accountable like any of us would be. Well, it's a little different for him. He was trained as an attorney, so even he should know better. Berensky says, "Yeah, this is boring. Can you talk about your sex life instead of law?" Yeah. Patty says, "Wasn't he supposed to be president?" No, that's Michael Avenatti who's in prison now. So, this VR says Trump has a bad track record of hiring lawyers. He does, but hey, we can't all hit. Even Ted Williams had to strike out quite a bit. So, other news that's going on is what's going on in the Young Thug trial, which, truly humbled under God, as his attorney said. I still can't believe that was the thing that was put up. But Young Thug's trial is being postponed until January. Why? Well, one of the co-defendants got stabbed up in the Fulton County Jail, which you guys have seen 60 Days In. This is the Fulton County Jail. And the co-defendant, Shannon Stillwell, was stabbed multiple times last Sunday during a fight with another inmate. So I love how the judge says, "Oh, one of the defendants had a medical issue." And came back the next morning. Yes, he got stabbed. I don't. I love how he told him to come back the next day, but he's like, "Well, the medical issue didn't resolve itself." I mean, he knows what happened. What, were they going to unstab him? Come on, judge. I'm trying to give you some credit here, but you're not helping yourself. So, to give Shannon Stillwell some time to recuperate, but also remember, it's December 14th. Next week, is the 18th. Next Monday's the 18th, and the Monday after that is Christmas. So we're already in the Christmas season, and the week after that is, that from Christmas, you're going straight into New Year's Eve, which is which I just awful when this happens like this. New Year's Eve is on a Sunday night. So yeah, we get Monday off, but it's just going to turn into a mess. The next 2 weeks are garbage generally if you're trying to get stuff done in court. That is pretty much a standard thing. So that's it. And yes, they're going to have to wait till then, which I'm sure jurors are not going to watch any news. They're not going to go on social media, nothing like that, and learn about what's going on. So yeah, the hits keep coming. Also, I did want to give a shout out, speaking of people out there listening, Kitchen Knife Rescue. I did see working on your knives and listening to me. Thank you for being out there. Wanted to appreciate that. If you guys have never seen him before, it is a channel over here on YouTube. He gave me a shout out. I thought it was only fair to give him one and say hello to him as well, because kind of flattering somebody's like, yeah, I'm doing work for my channel and listening to somebody else. It's kind of neat. So where we are with things, there. Now, the other big thing, well, this is actually interesting what happened, is Google. So Google was in a lawsuit, an antitrust lawsuit. Oh, that's going to hurt it really bad. So what happened to Google? Well, they were in a month-long trial in San Francisco, and a jury determined their verdict. And Epic Games, the makers of Fortnite, if you guys, as the kids say, which, do people play Fortnite? I don't know. They brought 11 antitrust claims, and involving the Google Play Store, because that's what you use if you're not an Apple user. And Google, this is a bad thing for them. It was not very good. You know, The judge is going to figure out how they get punished for what happened here, and it's their anti-competitive conduct of the App Store. So Google's going to be hurt really bad coming up. Hold on one second. Bad. Okay. Is that better? You might get shit now. Robot. How about this now? Is it better? No. Hmm. I don't know if it's say more. I'm not sure what you guys want me to say. Does it sound any better? Keep talking. I am going to keep talking. Talk more. Yes, I'm talking more. Start singing and we can tell you. Well, that's not going to be fair. You think it's foobar? No, I don't think there's something wrong with the mic. I still sound like I'm in a fishbowl. Hold on. Got all the way through. I'm gonna just make these. Sounds like I swallowed. It's louder but still hollow sounding. Yeah, I'm not gonna sing Ed Sheeran right now. That's not gonna help. If you don't talk, we can't tell. Using a can for a mic. Jeez. The Mossad's finally attacking me for the Mandy comments. Great. It's still Fubar. It's quiet but clear. Hold on. Let me know if it's better. Is this a little better? I'm trying to turn up the volume a little bit. I sound like I'm on the moon. There, I think it's fixed. Okay. Perfecto. Okay, good. All right, we're gonna get back to this. I swallowed a librarian. Jeez. All right. So Google was screwing around with Epic Games in the App Store. So Epic Games went after them. Well, now Google's in trouble. But the Justice Department is going to go after them regarding the search engine. So Google's going to get in trouble for Google. And they still face another antitrust trial regarding its online ad business. So, I mean, is that working any better, though? Who's tied up shouting? It's got a static hum underneath everything. Okay. Hold on, we'll fix this. See, is that taking care of the... Is that taking care of it at all, guys? Turn my gain down a smidge. I don't... Guys, I'm turning the volume down just a hair. I don't know. Still out of my ears. He's gonna boomer. Of course I'm gonna boomer. Do I look like I know how to handle this? Your microphone is directional. The directionality is off. Well, I don't... Hold on. Yeah, as I say, that's still where it is. Okay, it's perfect now. Turn the lights off to see if it helps. My mic is not upside down, it's right side up. Salty says finish the tank. Man, the tank. Salty, it's finished. So there, it's finished. So there we go. Getting back to what's going on here, Google's got a lot of antitrust problems coming up. So couldn't happen to a nicer person. Sure, we'd all agree. It's going to change how it's going to go. Google is facing a lot of problems on how it operates, and will be facing years and years and years of appeals. And you hate to see technology companies suffering like this, but it's only going to get worse for Google, I think. Oh, And then finally, this is actually, I think, something I know a lot of you are looking for and interested in. This is something we are going to cover here live when it happens. The Richard Allen case going to this. You guys remember Richard Allen's charge of murdering the two girls in Delphi, Indiana? Well, he had petitions filed with the Supreme Court of the Supreme Court of Indiana. Well, the one that he had filed alleging the judge had screwed up the records and caused all the problems, the Supreme Court dismissed that complaint and dismissed the writ he was seeking for that. They said, nope, he's got to follow the rules. It's not a problem. The one regarding the other allegations, well, this was on the 11th. The Supreme Court is going to hear oral arguments about it. Regarding the reinstatement of his former counsel, setting trial within 70 days, and removing Judge Gull and appointing another judge. That's going to be January 18th at 11 a.m. Now, those of you who don't realize it, Indiana is on Central Time, so that would be noon Eastern on January 18th. And we're going to be covering this live because the Indiana Supreme Court does live stream their oral arguments. So this will be good. The arguments total are going to be 60 minutes, with time equally divided between Richard Allen and Judge Gull. So Richard Allen and the Carroll County Circuit Court. Now, and the parties opposing the writ. So in addition to Judge Gull, it's the Indiana Attorney General has filed an opposition. Now, other parties may argue without further motion that if they've granted amicus curiae at this point, or amicus, or amicus, or amicus. If they've already been granted the petition, they don't have to ask for permission to argue. But the party who is in charge, the main party, has the discretion on whether or not to allow them. And that's something that happens when you have oral arguments. If you're the party in charge, you get to decide who gets to go out on the field. So if you want to hog all the time, you can do that. So with that said, Richard Allen gets the opening arguments, Judge Gull, and then probably the state of Indiana through the Attorney General go. And then Richard Allen and his attorneys get to respond one more time. They get the rebuttal. So Richard Allen and his team gets 30 minutes. The other side gets 30 minutes. And they split it up however they want. It is going to be very, very interesting. So did it go bad again? The mic is fucking up again. It seems when I turn my head towards it. Say there might be a spinning rat in my mic. Yes, that might be. Reform comic saying, I think the soil cloth protector thingy might help the mic. Okay. I'm going to have to figure out what's going on here because this thing has been ridiculous. Switchblade says my part of Indiana is in Eastern Standard Time. Name of some sources the rest of the state like Delphi's on ESC. No, what? Indiana time zones. Well, Indiana isn't Eastern Time Zone? What? Jigga, what? No way. No way. Yeah, 5 states are divided. Okay, the entire state. Oh, except for Northwest Indiana and Southwest Evansville. Okay, I guess I need to redo the time on this. So, 5 states are divided between Eastern and Central. Indiana, the entire state except for the Northwest. Okay. So I guess it's going to be 11 a.m. here too. We will be doing it right. You got a loose mic connection somewhere. I'm not sure where it's at because I just unplugged everything and put it back in. So that will be interesting to see what happens. I'm looking forward to that because I can't wait to hear the judge's arguments in front of the Supreme Court. But it's not going to be her herself. It's going to be her attorneys. They are going to get cut to shreds. Now, and it's funny, the Supreme Court still may say, yeah, she had the right to do it all. But they are going to question her about, like, what the fuck are you doing? Why were you doing this? Why didn't you do it the right way? Why didn't you have a record? Why didn't you do this or that? It'll be very interesting to see what happens there. Dust Boot says, "Don't you dare cancel a live stream on First and Proud 35 days early." I'm not going to cancel it. I can change the time. So, all right, guys, that is perfectly on the 2-hour mark. 2 hours exactly and 20 seconds. So that is it. Salty, I know you said you had a question, so if you're still out there, fire it up because I'll answer it real quick. Reform says, "Put your chest into your voice like a man would." Thank you. Thank you so much. That's what's helping me. That's what's hurting me here, huh? So, any comments about the Supreme Court and the Illinois assault weapon ban? I mean, who if you didn't expect that coming, yeah, it's not. I mean, are you surprised? Are you surprised that it got shot down the way it did? They're gonna need a bunch of them belted together before you can roll in like that. So another year of litigation, yeah. Supreme Court's they're gonna take their time. They're gonna take their sweet time. Aaron Hack for $50. Thank you, Aaron. Very, very much. Thank you for the support. Saying Merry Christmas, Sean and Miss Potentially Criminal. Thank you. And I'm sure she'd say thank you if she was sitting here right now. Nico says, "Restart my computer before locals." I'm probably going to do that, yeah, because I'm not sure what's going on. Outlasted Thursday Night Football. Well, that's good. Got more stamina than the NFL. Meat Candy says, December 16th is the 250th anniversary of the Boston Tea Party. On a Saturday, that's nice. What part of the government would I like to see tossed in the bay? I mean, just one part? Because there's a lot of parts of the government that can go in the water. I'll fill up the fucking Challenger Trench with parts of the government. I'm gonna say they'll turn the Challenger Trench into an above surface island at that rate. So don't tread lightly because you tread on my dreams. Kimbo Nice says, "Can citizens search government guards and law enforcement officers if they feel threatened, asking for a friend?" Oh no, no, that's as much as you like to think that would happen. No, that's not going to end well. That will not end well for you. Blow on the cone like a cartridge. Yeah. Honestly, it just sounds like the processing screwing up. Yeah. Reform Comic says, "Ladies like stamina." Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So, Patty's saying, "Yeah, did the Supreme Court cuck Illinois on guns?" Yes, they did. They're not gonna shortcut it. It's gonna be stuck in litigation. So it's gonna take time. It's gonna take time. So where is Salty? He said he had these questions. Like, where'd he go? He asked me to stick around. I was gonna, wait for that. And oh, Aaron, I did want to say also Merry Christmas to you and yours as well. Hope you guys are getting ready for fun times out there. Lost and Lost is still going. Yep, long and hard and long, or long and hard, however you wish to look at it. So, of course, that alias would always say that. Um, Let me see here. Real Loblaw says Rumble barely notified me you were streaming. Yeah, I don't even. All of them are acting weird. Locals is acting weird. YouTube's acting well. We know YouTube does, but even Rumble's acting. White Sparrow saying turn the gain down a smidge. Okay, I'm try to work on that. So, slow and long is my motto. That's not a bad one. Also, Salty said I did ask. I think YouTube cucked me. I haven't seen you post anything in a little bit, so Ask it again, but spell it differently. Use your use your fluency in leet speak if you have it, and I'll give you one more second to try to put it together. Eddie Leather says, "Merry Christmas. Christ is your salvation. Be Catholic." Yes, yes, leet it, the leet speak. Yes, the bunch of noobs. Gonna tear it up on CS Militia, all the doolies. Oh, you remember that letter I sent from the city that said sent you to ban me for saying "f you" to them? Yes, I do. Yes. So what happened? I trespassed the entire city in return. Now they went to my house. You need to, if you have questions, please contact me through email because this is probably kind of getting serious. So contact me through email. I'll be happy to talk to you. So they say they need it for a water meter replacement. Can I pew pew them? No, you can't. Okay. No, you cannot shoot the waterman. Stabby says, when are you going to make some content for the model channel? Coming up because got the spray booth, everything ready to go as well. So yes, please don't shoot the water meter guy. So, all right, guys, that is it for tonight. We are going to go over to locals and have some fun over there. If you guys have any interest in that, it's at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. Once again, that's all right there. You guys join for 113 with promo code criminal because the streams are meant to be only for subscribers and supporters. So I will see you guys over there. We still have more time and we'll be doing, and I thought about this. We are going to do a stream. Those of you guys, if you are locals members and supporters, we are going to do a Monday night stream on Christmas itself. So don't fret. That will still happen. But yeah, otherwise, guys, thank you to everybody out there on Kick, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and here on YouTube, guys. All your comments are greatly appreciated. And remember, till next time, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. I mean, unless you're Michael Cohen, then Jesus, buddy. Can't use the AI. Come on, man. Good night, everybody.